Hey guys, what's going on? I wanted to come here today and talk a little bit more about the Giannis trade situation. Now, I know that there's a lot of buzz happening around the league. Everyone's talking about this. There's a lot of articles and rumors. And obviously, any team that can get him is probably doing what they can right now to make that happen. You know, they're getting their trade pieces and their assets ready. And so there's a lot of different perspectives that you can look at this from, just depending on where he goes or which team is the best at snagging him. But I want to look at this from the Lakers' perspective. So let me take a step back and just say that a player of Giannis's caliber is never going to be cheap. I know it sounds like common knowledge, but obviously he's given so much to Milwaukee. He's stayed, 10, 12 years, two-time MVP, got them a championship. And so any team that ends up getting Giannis, it's going to cost them so much. It's going to be draft picks and players and money and who knows what else. And so the teams who have that to give have the immediate advantage right now. And that puts teams like the Raptors and Miami and the Rockets, it puts them in the lead as, the best chance at landing Giannis. And so where does this leave the Lakers? Because in my opinion, they don't really have as much as they think they do. Now, I know that whenever stories like this are breaking out, right, whenever you have a situation like the Giannis situation where a really good player announces that they kind of maybe don't want to be there anymore, I think it's really tempting to want to immediately see that end result as him being on your team and him being with your team's best player. And so obviously the dream scenario right now for the Lakers is Luka and Giannis on the same team. Luka and Giannis dominating, Luka and Giannis getting deep in the playoffs and maybe even winning the finals. And I can see how that's tempting because that would be extremely fun to watch. But also, let's be realistic. Can it even happen? And the thing is, with trades like this, when it's done right, it's going to be complicated. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be tricky to maneuver. And here's the thing, this isn't a Nico Harrison situation. I think the Lakers or any team can pull a Nico Harrison. They can make some dumb moves happen. They can make a trade happen without any thought going into it. But if you want to do it right, it's going to be difficult. And it is difficult for the Lakers, in my opinion. I also know that, they have Austin Reaves, right? So I know that one common belief right now is oh, well, the Lakers have Austin Reaves, so why don't they make a pretty package around him and obviously add on as much as you need to make it appealing and then just send it to Milwaukee and hope that they're happy with it. And I would agree to some extent. I think Austin Reaves is a great player. He's young. He's playing so well. I honestly think he's one of the unsung heroes on that team because he plays his part and he's not a big media personality or anything. So he's not talked about as much, but I think he should. And also, speaking of Austin Reaves, I'm going to go off on a side tangent here. But I think the Lakers need to figure out his situation because he's going to be a free agent this summer. And if the Lakers don't do anything to retain him, if they let him walk away at the end of this current contract, then he's walking away for free. And so the Lakers are getting nothing out of it. But also if they want to keep him, then now it influences your budgeting. If there are players you want to currently keep right now, that influences who you can and can't get. Whether it's Giannis or some other player, I say budget to keep who you already have first. You don't have Giannis yet, so don't worry about losing him. You don't even have him yet. But you do have Austin Reaves, so worry about keeping him right now. Anyways, that's just my opinion. But back to what we're talking about. But I think the most realistic option for the Lakers is don't go for Giannis. I don't think they should break up the roster. And if they want to make a trade like this happen, they would almost absolutely end up having to break up the roster and, break up the core. And I don't think they're in a good position to sacrifice that. I think what they should do is find a solution that's more feasible. Find somebody like Andrew Wiggins, somebody that's a good 3-and-D player, somebody that can come in and help your team win right away, and it effectively keeps your core intact. And I know that it's kind of a bummer hearing a final verdict of hey, your team can't get this superstar that wants to leave his team. But I don't think this is a loss for the Lakers. I do think that they should not go for Giannis right now, but I don't think that it's all doom and gloom after. Because here's the thing, players like Austin Reaves, first of all, they already have value, but they're young, they're only getting better. And so imagine the value this team holds in a year or 3 years from now. maybe they will be in a position one day to then move some pieces around and get a super max, superstar type of guy right next to Luka. And that whole dream scenario, it can play out again. But this time, it might not be Giannis, it might be somebody else. But either way, the Lakers get what they want, an all-star, a superstar. And so that's basically my thoughts. I don't have much else to share, but I was wondering this, okay? And I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this next part. So it's pretty obvious from the articles or whatever else, it's pretty obvious that Giannis keeps talking about how they're not winning and he wants to be in a winning atmosphere, right? He wants a championship pretty much. Like, we can put two and two together. He wants more titles. He wants to get deep in the playoffs, obviously, right? And I mentioned earlier how a lot of these teams who do have the picks, the assets, the money, whatever, teams like the Raptors and the Rockets and Miami Heat, they've technically got what it takes to land Giannis. Like, when it comes to the financials and their bank account, they've got what it takes to get him. But here's the thing, like, if Giannis wants to leave Milwaukee because he's not winning enough, will he be any happier on the Raptors? Like, sure, he'll be winning a little bit more, possibly, but if it's not the championship, then like what is he doing it for? That's my kind of thought. And I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't have a strong belief one way or another. I don't have a preference. I'm kind of just thinking out loud here. Like, what if Miami can land him, but then he gets fucking nothing done in Miami? What if the Rockets can land him? And sure, like, him and Durant or who, like maybe they do some good things on the court, but will they get to the finals? If not, then like that kind of puts him back at square one too, So anyways, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I do wonder, like, what happens if he goes from one useless team to another useless team? It doesn't really accomplish much. But anyways, this is all just my thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, so feel free to drop your opinions or whatever else in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.